Jason Wilde.
Is there anything anybody loves more than agreeing with Tausch?
Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher.
I got a hunch this isn't going to be concise either.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
I would say that you are pretty easygoing. You're actually probably more easygoing than I am.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Well, you're not easygoing at all.
Hey!
On 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
It is the Tuesday edition, the Tausch's Spring Sabbatical Continues edition, which means it's another Cousin Sub of the Day edition. I look like I'm moving in slow motion, which if I'm running like a 40-yard dash, someone would say that anyway, but in the video, I'm very slow. Does that concern you, Jesse? Edition. And 3 hours with this guy? How lucky are we? Edition. Of Wilde and Tausch. On 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from his humble abode, maybe the farm, maybe his house, somewhere in Florida, he is our famous friend. And just like he replaced Tausch in the starting lineup in 2010, he replaces him today as our Cousin Sub of the Day. It is Bryan Bulaga. Bryan, good morning. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to be back with you guys as usual. Thanks for inviting me back. It's always fun.
I don't know if it's so much as of an invitation as more begging, but we're happy that you agreed.
It's an invite. I mean, I can't invite myself. I mean, I can't text Jesse and say I'm coming. I'm co-hosting today. Just letting you know. Hey, Tuesday's my day, so just letting you know.
That'd actually be pretty welcome
It's actually
around
not
here.
a bad idea.
Yeah, anytime.
No. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind for future reference.
So anything going on in your world first? Because when you fill in for Tausch, obviously Tausch always comes into the show with something completely unrelated to the show sheet, which he never reads anyway. Anything going on? How was the soccer camp? I know you weren't coaching it. You were just in dad mode. But last time we saw you, you were in your vehicle. You were, it was like 85 degrees. Today here it's 28, but it's supposed to warm up later in the week. And you were at a soccer camp. How are things in the world of Bryan Bulaga today?
Well, it's. I'm glad you asked because this week I'm riding solo this week. Abby has a bunch of her girlfriends down in Sarasota this week, so she's staying downtown with her friends for 4 days, and I'm kind of running the show here by myself. So, I'm kind of I'm taking to school, I'm picking up, I'm doing homework, I'm making dinners, I'm taking to soccer, I'm coming back home. I'm doing it all. It's a lot of responsibility. I feel like, hey, I could mess this up. I may not mess this up. So there's a lot on my plate, but you know what? She deserves a break. She does way more than what she should. So I'm happy to do it. Obviously, she could do 10 of these a year, and it wouldn't be enough. So I'm happy to do it. But hey, I am a little nervous that every morning I'm forgetting something in their bag, or I didn't pack I didn't put enough snack in there. Something's going to happen, or whatever. Like this morning, perfect example. My son, Declan, comes down the stairs. And, he looks at me and he looks over towards where our TV is. We have this big cabinet thing. He looks over there and he looks at me. He looks back over there and I'm like, what's up, man? Good morning. He's like, where are my clothes at? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I left them upstairs. He's like, I'll go get them. Goes back upstairs, brings back down all the clothes. I don't do those things. That's normally not my job. So I gotta get back. I took the clothes out. I remembered to get them out, but I just left them on the desk. I didn't bring them down. So I'm a little behind on the routine, so to speak.
So first of all, you and Tausch and I are all in a club of we married up. We found people that we basically rely on them. Tausch with Sarah, me with Paula, you with Abby. That look, if they decided to divorce all three of us and leave us and the kids, I don't think any of our kids would be in danger necessarily, but we wouldn't have the organizational structure that our kids have. Fair? Is that a fair critique?
It would be the Wild West. I could put it that way. It would be it would be something to behold. I'll put it that way. How things would get done and how it would be organized around here would be interesting because I don't know. You know what I mean? Just for a perfect example, get up this morning, I'm doing things and get the kids to school. I come home and I do a quick workout because I got to jump on here. But I come into the bedroom and got to fold laundry. I see a thing of laundry. She obviously left it for me to do, or maybe she didn't, but I'm you know what? I'm going to be helpful. But then there's another load in the dryer that I get out. And I'm there's just a lot of stuff that I'm not used to doing that she just does no matter what. So there's if it was me on my own, I'd be in some trouble. I would just be in some trouble. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah, so I do laundry, I do, cleaning up after the animal. I do have my jobs, right? But I think the important stuff, like making sure they're eating in a healthy manner as opposed to just going places that are quick and easy to make my life easier, those would be the struggles. But I do think that we probably underestimate what we would be capable of if they left us. I just don't ever want to find out because I don't want that theory to have to be proven or disproven. And these brief times where we're without them, it is a challenge. It is an undeniable challenge. So
it's a good reminder for you. It's a good reminder for you. And it's a little hey, just a heads up. This could be, if you are dumb enough, if you're dumb enough. But again, like I said, I always say she could do 10 of these a year and it wouldn't be enough. You know what I'm saying? She could do as many as she wanted, for all she's put up with me, just not through my NFL career, but even just dealing with me on a daily. So it's, I'm glad that she gets to go have fun and do what she wants to do and be with her friends and enjoy, some time away. But, business as usual for me. Just, jump on with you guys, go to soccer practice, do some homework, and hey, just, keep the routine alive. Keep the routine alive.
Well, we'll check back in with you once she's on kind of her own version of the Tausch sabbatical, so we'll see. It's much shorter than Tausch's, but we'll see how things are going later in the week. All right, we're happy to have you, and it's a good thing it's not spring break, because then you'd be trying to juggle doing the show and all your responsibilities, and you wouldn't have school to kind of handle that part of the day. The girls are on spring break here. They're going to go do some fun stuff today, and Maddie's got a track meet. So we've got a lot of stuff going on here, but I want to get to a bunch of Packers things, because yesterday, Jesse, would you agree that we spent less time on the Packers than we normally do, even with America's favorite punter, Brad Nortman, in as our cousin sub of the day?
We did, but we somehow spent more time on the Packers than I expected we would yesterday at the same time. But, yeah, a lot of Badgers conversation yesterday with Wisconsin losing in the second round of the NCAA tournament, which, compared to the Iowa Hawkeyes, at least they were in the tournament, not hiring a new coach. So that's always good.
He just can't help himself.
It's an interesting, like, come at me deal. Like, the thing is, like, I picked Wisconsin to win the game, and they busted my parlay. So, like, I was cheering for the Badgers, and now you fire at me about, like, something that I was cheering for. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a disappointing loss, but the grass could always be less green, I suppose, would be the way to look at it. And in this case,
I mean, let's look at it this way. Iowa finished the season the same as Wisconsin, trophyless.
True.
No trophies. They finished the season the same.
They also just hired the PJ Fleck of college basketball to become the new head coach with his gold tie he's going to be wearing for every game. That's going to get old real quick.
You know what's interesting about that hire, though? If I'm not mistaken, I think his assistant coach that he's bringing is my old roommate, and he played with the Giants, and he passed away, is Tyler Sash's brother. I believe he was his assistant coach at Drake, and I believe he would be bringing him back to the University of Iowa. So there's a little small circle, moment there. Him going back to the University of Iowa, where Tyler played and Tyler loved, and obviously he was my roommate at Iowa. So if that happens, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a cool thing that he gets to go back there and coach at the University of Iowa. But I don't know if he is going back there or not. I don't know if that's been announced, his assistant coaches. But like I said, he was his assistant at Drake. But again, I don't know. That'd be cool if he did, though. But you're right. Listen, I can't remember Iowa being good at men's basketball for a while. So, like, you're not making me feel bad by ragging on them. Like, you're not hurting my feelings. Like, it's, it is what it is.
So, if you don't mind, and if you don't want to go here, I totally understand. But for those that don't know Tyler Sash's story, he played in the NFL for a while. He passed away in 2015. I didn't realize he was your roommate. Having obviously been close with him, when you think about him today because of his brother coming along with Ben McCollum, I'm wondering what your feelings are, because he is one of those players that I think when you hear his story and when you think back to what he dealt with in terms of traumatic brain injury, perhaps, right? There are concerns certainly about that being a factor in his passing. I'm just wondering, how often do you think about your friend? And because on this show, let me be clear on something. We don't joke about CTE on this show, right? Now, Chewy makes jokes all the time about his forgetfulness, and that's how he deals with it. I have always said that I feel like a complete fool for never understanding how dangerous concussions were. And I always tell the story of Don Beebe suffering a concussion the first half of a game and being out cold, unconscious, and then catching a touchdown pass in the second half. And I look back and go, how on earth did I not say to myself, that is not a good idea? How were we so stupid about that? And when I because I've read Tyler's story multiple times, it's been told many times. His is a cautionary tale of not understanding how much peril you guys put yourselves in by playing this game. So how does that impact you and how you view the game, how you made a living, and losing a friend to what most likely was related to the hits that he absorbed?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, for me, gives me a different perspective. It's a big reason why, just not my own experience from having concussions of playing the game. And I know the violence of the game, the physicality, but when people ask me about my son and when I want him to play and when I'm going to allow him to play, it's certainly a factor, because now we're talking about when I'm going to start exposing him to those hits, right? And I was exposed to those hits starting in second grade, as was Tyler when he started playing Pop Warner football back in Iowa. So, we're talking about the exposure to hits, and every parent makes that decision for their child, right? And my parents made that decision for me. And hey, you know what? And no one's wrong or right in whatever it is, right? I'm not saying my parents are wrong or Tyler. I'm not saying that, but everyone makes their decision. But when I found out what happened with Tyler, obviously, absolutely shocked. Very, because we roomed together for about 2.5 years once we left the dorms. So we were together pretty much, nonstop once we left the dorms. And even in the dorms, we were together a bunch. That's how we built our friendship throughout our time to move in together. So when I heard the news, it was very shocking. It's hard to put into words when, you not only you live with someone, then he goes to the NFL and he's making a name for himself and he wins a Super Bowl and he's he's had injuries, right? I know he hurt his shoulder. I know he had concussions throughout the NFL and he was dealing with some injuries throughout the offseason. But then when that happened and then you start hearing kind of what he was dealing with outside of it, it makes you think, right? And it makes you think what guys are going through besides what we just see, right? And it really it makes you question a lot. It does. I don't regret anything that I did playing for 1 second. Maybe and guys don't either. But it puts a human spin on what guys are going through and what people are doing. It was a hard thing to swallow when I got the news. And I know he did that bit. There was that big special that Brett Favre did, and obviously Tyler's family was interviewed a bunch with it, his sister, and all that. And normally probably it's because I remember that documentary normally gets played right around the same time every year, right around Tyler's birthday or somewhere around there. I always end up watching it around the same time. They always play it on ESPN or it comes up on the ESPN Plus. It always, for some reason, it always shows up on my favorites to watch or something like that around the same time every year. And I always watch it. And because, when you get to spend so much time with someone and you're a friend, you have these memories outside of football, and then you don't get to see that person anymore. And you want to remember that person from outside of what he was dealing with, whether that was mentally with the brain injuries or whatever it may have been. You want to remember them. So definitely tough, but it puts into perspective, like you said, how dangerous the game is and the consequences that come along with it. And you said it, guys know what they're signing up for, right? If you don't know what you're signing up for, you better ask someone, because it unfortunately is what it is. Now, technology and the quality of helmet and all that, yes, that's getting better. I get it. But the athletes are getting bigger. Jason, you see it. These guys are getting bigger. They're getting faster. They're getting stronger coming out of college. Look at those Eagles defensive linemen, those two D tackles. These kids are huge. they're enormous human beings, and they're fast and they're strong. Like, I mean, we had guys that were similar. Like, when we were playing, it was like the Aaron Donalds, like those types of guys that were not as big as that, but super quick and strong. Those dudes are enormous and strong and quick. Like, they're just getting bigger and bigger, and it's the game's more violent, and that's it's hard to avoid. But every parent, every person has to make the decision that's best for their child, and that's really the way I view it. And it's a tough decision for everyone, and I get criticized from it, or I catch flack from my buddies all the time from, when are you going to let Declan play? When does he want to play? And when are you going to let him put pads on? And it's just like, he's not ready yet. He's just not ready yet. He's not developed yet, for my opinion, right? He wasn't built like me. You know what I mean? Like, just physically, he's not built like I was at his age. And until I see him physically develop, I can't allow it.
Yeah, I didn't want this to necessarily take this turn, but I think it's an important conversation, and especially now realizing your relationship with Tyler. The documentary that Bryan refers to that Brett Favre was part of, it's called Concussed. You can find it on Apple TV right now if you want to watch it. But knowing that you were so close with him, here, my biggest thing about this, and then we'll lighten the mood after this, is that this is why, and I hope during my time covering you and you getting to know me, I hope this comes through with the guys I deal with. Like, yeah, you guys make money that I would never imagine having, right? It's a luxurious, incredible financial windfall of a life. But you're still people just like everyone else. And I think that you're going to get criticized for your performance, and that comes with the territory. I'm part of that industrial complex. But I always want people to understand that you guys are real people too. No matter what your bank account number is, no matter how much glory you get winning a Super Bowl, you're real human beings. And I think sometimes we forget that, and we distill you guys down, well, not you because you don't have any fantasy football stats, but into football, fantasy football statistics, and did my team win or lose, and I bought these tickets and they got their asses kicked, and I sat through the game in the snow and they got beat 42-17. And I do think it's important, and that's why I try to do it with my storytelling too, that we remember that you guys are real people. And I think sometimes that's easy to forget. And I think when you talk about guys that were so impacted by CTE and concussions, and you pause to at least think about the danger, I hope that there is a slightly greater appreciation. You're right, it gives you a great life, and you don't regret playing football by any means. But I do think it's important to keep that perspective when you're watching the games and when you're unhappy when Josh Jacobs only gets you 6 fantasy points in a game. So I'll get off my soapbox now, but I didn't realize that about you and Tyler. So that kind of caught me and unexpectedly. All right. Well, There's a lot to expect on the show today, including, even though Tausch isn't here, we will hear his voice time and time and time again. That's part of the charm of Old Boy, talking about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. More Wilde and Tausch with Bryan Bulaga as our cousin sub of the day. Straight ahead, stick around.
Mark Tauscher here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Well, we talk a lot about the unprecedented quality and service you get from Pella. But talking to the people who work there, you can tell how much they genuinely love what they do. Pella's team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the sale. Right now, take advantage of windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Certain restrictions do apply. This offer ends March 31st, 2025. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We're with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
From color-changing alexandrite to shimmering zircon and everything in between at Chalmers Jewelers, you'll find high-quality, affordable, one-of-a-kind pieces. We source straight from the gem cutters and we manufacture in-house from start to finish. As the manufacturer, we believe in truth in pricing. Never pay more for quality and stunning, beautiful jewelry. She's one of a kind, and so should her jewelry be. While others may send your jewelry dreams to someone else to make, with us, your dreams become reality with the help of our custom jewelers, with you involved the whole way. With a staff that has over 200 years of combined experience, why buy from a place that marks up jewelry made by the thousands? When you can buy direct from Chalmers for that one-of-a-kind piece that is better quality, often for less.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Hey, ready to sweeten your game? It's time for Quick Trip's Nature's Touch Ice Cream. Ooh, making moves like the starting lineup of a championship team. Whether you're gearing up for the big game, celebrating a win, or just looking for a sweet break in the action. Chocolate, vanilla, cookies and cream, mint chocolate chip, and more. Yeah, there's no such thing as a bad pick. So why wait? Flavor doesn't scoop itself. Get your hands on your winning Nature's Touch Ice Cream flavor today. Only at Quick Trip.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Switch on the sky and the stars glow for you. Go see the world cause it's all so brand new. Don't close your eyes cause your future's ready to shine. It's just a matter of time before we learn how to fly.
All right, I know that got pretty heavy, so we'll lighten the mood. And Evan Cohen of Unsportsmanlike will join us momentarily to help us do that. I'm getting some questions in the YouTube comments because they're very perceptive there, the dwellers, as Jesse likes to call them. Did you get a new pair of cleats or basketball shoes? Because over your right shoulder, there appear to be some size 15 shoes. Maybe is that high? Size 14? What size shoe do you wear?
No, those are 15s. Those are 15s.
I got it. What are the chances?
Yeah. Yep.
What are you coming out of retirement? Do we need to know something?
Those are my my indoor turf shoes from my last year in Green Bay. Like those were the indoor turf shoes that I wore on like Saturday jog throughs when we did our indoor, deal with LaFleur on Saturdays before, whatever it was, if we weren't outside and we were, on the indoor on Saturday jog through, that's what I wore. They were like basketball shoes, but they were for turf.
And so why are they out? Were you running around? Do you have an indoor turf area at your house? Like we do. We've got a little turf area, not very large. What were you doing?
I have a little strip of turf next door by the weight room. But I think they were in a box when Abby and I were cleaning stuff out, and I think she just put them there, and I haven't even moved them.
He's just home alone and doesn't know where they go.
Yeah, like I just have not moved them. Like they've just been there. And sometimes, like if I got to go run outside really quick because that door behind me leads outside, and I don't have sandals or anything out here. I'll throw those on to run outside really quick just in case. Because I don't feel like going to get a pair of sandals. So they're multi-purpose. You never know when you need a quick pair of shoes.
Sure, it's good that you kept them around so you can put them on to go run outside briefly. All right, that was definitely a very different vibe. That's good. We were able to get into the fun mode once again. And speaking of fun, Evan Cohen of Unsportsmanlike scheduled to appear next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
Champions aren't made overnight, and neither was Pizza Hut's Stuffed Crust Pizza. They're the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others may try to copy, but they're not like Pizza Hut. For a limited time, score big with a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. It's perfect for watching big games on the go. Hurry, you won't want to miss this championship deal before it's gone. Head to one of their locations or order online at pizzahut.com. Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
There's a winter weather advisory this Thursday on the Jump Around.
People had picked us to finish in the bottom of the Big Ten, and we knew that. Coach had came up with the saying, chatter don't matter.
See Wisconsin Badgers center Nolan Winter on the Jump Around every week for the rest of this basketball season.
We got that same mindset going into this tournament. It's a new season. We're going to go back to just having fun and being the team we know we can be.
The Jump Around, brought to you by Steinhoffels. Streaming live every Thursday on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Introducing the newest carbless flavor, Mango Vodka. Flavored with the essence of the ripest, freshest mangoes, carbless mango vodka will transport your taste buds to a sunny beach getaway. New flavor, still the same carbless crafted cocktails with 0 carbs, 0 sugars, and only 100 calories. Enjoy a refreshing vodka cocktail without the guilt. 4-packs of the new carbless mango vodka cocktail are available in stores near you. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com and escape with every sip.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Outside In. That's what we call our Outdoor Living Unlimited showroom at 2018 South Stoughton Road. All the cool stuff you want outside in your yard displayed inside. Patios, decks, pavers, and an automated pergola, fire pit, outdoor kitchen, a putting green, and in-ground pool. Even a converting 3-season room that's either outside or inside. We are Outdoor Living Unlimited. Your outdoor living potential awaits you at our Outside In showroom, 2018 South Stoughton Road. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
The madness has arrived at Metro Ford of Madison this month. Get behind the wheel of a 2024 Ford F-150 with 3.9% APR for 66 months plus $2,000 flex buy cash, $16.86 cost per thousand borrowed. Or drive away in the 2024 Ford Escape with 1.9% APR for 66 months plus $500 flex buy cash, $15.97 cost per thousand. Don't miss out. These offers end March 31st. Head to Metro Ford of Madison or visit metrofordofmadison.com today.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Evan Cohen on Wilde and Tausch is brought to you by Verizon. Verizon is the official 5G network of the NFL. Visit a Madison area Verizon store today.
I'm throwing caution. What's it gonna be? Tonight the winds of change are blowing wild and free. If I don't get out of this town, I just might be the one who finally burns it down. I'm throwing caution.
You know that Killers music means it's time for Evan Cohen. And because he, although I don't think he's a Florida man anymore, I'm getting some pushback for Bryan. And again, we love it when you're here. We're not here, I know you like good, tough coaching. Not all of us do. But...
You don't say.
I didn't know your mic was live yet. So the fans in the YouTube comments trying to understand how someone who lives in Florida doesn't have a pair of flip-flops or sandals at the ready for those moments where you just run outside briefly and instead is putting on his size 15 indoor cleats from his football career. Evan, you lived in Florida for a good chunk of your adult life. Is this aberrant behavior from Bulaga that he doesn't have flip-flops to run outside and instead he puts on his old Packers cleats to go outside when he has to run out there to get the mail?
They're turf shoes. They're turf shoes, by the way. They're not cleats. They don't have studs in them. They're nubs. All right, so let's get that clear.
Wait a second. Bryan, wait, hold on. So Bryan and I are on, when I lived in Florida, it's a different side of the state than Bulaga lives. So it's not, I don't know if we're going to determine it different, like, hey, on the east coast of Florida, we wear flip-flops. But let's define a couple of things, because, Jason, I don't know if you realize this. There's a big debate as to the definition of flip-flops. Is that like slide sandal types where there is no thing in between the toe? How do you define that? Because that's important, too.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I guess I always
don't like the thing in between the toe. I
don't either. God, it's alarming how much alike we can sometimes be. I really don't like that. No, I'm a slides guy. I am not the thong sandal with the little divider.
He doesn't wear thongs. He just announced on here.
Just in case you were wondering, yes.
Okay, so, Bryan, question for you on this. Do you think when you're going outside, like, you're playing football again? Like, is any time you're outdoors in your mind, like, a chance at a game? And that's why you wear these cleats?
No, okay. So, like, here's
shoes.
the thing.
Turf shoes.
No. Okay, so, like, I can't have a pair of sandals or slides at every single door at the house here. Like, this little door here leads out to where my little cold tub is, which then would lead out to, like, where the pool equipment is, where rocks are. So, like, if I need to get to the pool equipment, I'm not walking barefoot on rocks. So, like, I have a pair of shoes here just to get outside really quick. Like, my slides are where, like, the normal doors are to go outside where the kids play and all that. Like, I don't have a million pairs of slides. I got one pair, and they're over there. Like, it's just, I don't have pairs at every door. It's just, that's just what it is. Like, I guess if the YouTube, fans want me to buy more pairs, I can buy more pairs of slides, put them at every door. But I don't find it necessary. One pair is plenty.
wait. I have another question on this because I have started to do something. I have indoor shoes that I will only wear indoors, and I do not wear outside. I have a pair of flip-flops that are only indoors. You guys have that?
Wait a minute. Are they flip-flops or are they slides?
No, they're no toes. They're no toes. I'm sorry. You're good catch. You're a journalist. It's a good job. You have to be precise.
Wait a minute. I'm glad Evan brought this up. This was the question I was going to ask. I have a pair of slides that I wear in the house too. I don't like to walk around barefoot or in my socks. So in Casa de Bulaga.
What? In your socks you don't like?
Yeah, I don't. Oh. I like to have my slides on when I'm walking around the house.
All right, that's actually weirder than Bulaga wearing the turf shoes.
Okay, fair. I wouldn't go that far. So are you right now? I don't want to ask too personal of a question here, but are you wearing anything on your feet right now?
Well, I'm in a New York City parking garage.
Well, not you, Brian.
So. Oh.
I mean, I have a pair of socks on because I wear socks inside. Like, I don't mind wearing socks.
Rex Ryan would love this show.
Question. Wait, Jesse's got to put up the poll question. What is weirder, Bulaga wearing turf shoes to get the mail, or Jason refusing to wear socks in his own home?
Well, only socks. I have socks and I have slides on right now. That's my basic status quo when I'm at home by myself or with people. All right, let's move on. Evan, the NFL draft is coming to Green Bay. I believe you are coming to Green Bay as well. Are you looking forward to that, or is it still there's a big celebration here in Green Bay because we are 1 month out from the draft arriving? Do people outside of here care about that kind of stuff? Are you that excited about it?
Hell yeah, I'm excited about coming to Green Bay. This is going to be awesome. We've been working with Travel Wisconsin and Pick Wisconsin because, it is a great place for the draft. I mean, when you're thinking about coming to the great state of Wisconsin that you have lived in forever and Brian played in and I went to school in, it is made for moments like this, is it not? Isn't it like the ultimate football heaven when you're thinking about the great state of Wisconsin? It's awesome for that.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. But I am curious because I've also seen, and I was talking to someone who's in charge of the security and all the other stuff as they're starting to prepare for the draft, and I didn't know what kind of numbers they were expecting here, and I'm very curious how they arrive at this number. But in Detroit last year, they had over 700,000 people, and they seemingly were all booing Bryan Bulaga at the same time when he took the stage.
Yes.
And now we're expecting around 250,000 over the 3 days here in Green Bay. And I don't know I don't know the math there. We got a great thing we're doing with Verizon. We got a great thing we're doing with Travel Wisconsin. There's a lot of fun stuff that we have going on. But I guess I expected that the disparity in that number is huge, right? That's 500,000 people difference between how many people went to Detroit and how many people were expecting here. And I don't know why that would be. Is that because we don't have enough places?
Is this, yes, because of, it's definitely because of hotels, don't you think? But I'm wondering about one thing. Is this a preemptive strike by you, Jason, to properly defend the great state of Wisconsin, inevitably when the draft comps are provided of last year we had X amount of people versus this year Y amount of people?
Yes, that was the first thought I had when I was told this by someone in the security realm, that they were only expecting 250,000. They want to make it more about the experience than the sheer number of people, which I kind of feel like that's what you say when you're not going to have the sheer number of people coming.
Yeah, I would look at it too I was at the Detroit one, and it was a massive setup with how they had it, where they had everything set up. And Green Bay setting it up where in the Johnsonville area, and where
it's
the players
the theater, so the theater is on Oneida Street, and it will be facing toward Lambeau Field, and it's the theater is huge. So there'll be lots of covering in case we get snow like we have the last 2 days here. But again, they're not anticipating.
Yeah. That sounds great. That sounds lovely.
Yeah, that's a problem, Jason. Can you arrange no snow for Bryan and I?
Yeah.
Gonna need your closed-toe shoes.
Yeah.
This can't be. I can't be sitting here every day screaming and yelling about how great Wisconsin is, and then we get snow for the draft. Jason, you have to fix this. This is not right.
I will use my
radio every day. They're doing this. This is ridiculous.
There's your 250. That's your 250,000 number right there. That's why. Because there could be a snowstorm. That's why. There could be a torrential snowstorm.
Can I ask you guys a question? I've been dying to know something. Not to change topics here, but of course I will. So I saw on the internet this report about Rodgers and Packers culture, and I'm like, that can't be true. And I said to my producer this morning, I said, where's that coming from? And he did some research. I'm like, wait, it's from Albert Breer? Like, it's a legit great reporter. So when Aaron Rodgers reportedly is looking for a culture like the Packers, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he want to leave?
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, right, Bryan?
Yeah. I mean, listen, obviously, I wasn't, when he left, I wasn't there anymore, right? Like, that was in what, Jason? Was that in 20?
His last season was 2022. Your last season in Green Bay was 2019.
Yeah, so I wasn't there when.
Why he wanted out? Because you weren't there. I'm taking it that way, Brian. That he wanted.
That's reason number one.
No Bulaga, no Aaron. Yeah,
amazing that he lasted 3 more seasons without you.
And won 2 MVPs without me. Yeah, and won 2 MVPs.
Well,
I mean,
nonetheless, we can ignore some of that stuff, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I think, I don't know if it was he wanted out. I think what was going on, and I guess there's a lot of different ways to look at it. I think the culture that maybe Breer, and I didn't read the article, the culture that he really, at least that I thought early on that he really liked, was a veteran presence culture. He really liked that culture of having a very veteran-based locker room. And when you looked at that locker room early on, in my time there, and you looked around that locker room, it was just littered with veteran guys and guys from ages or years in the league from probably 4 and up. And guys that have had experience and been around the block and been on the team and understood, what was supposed to be done. And as time went on there, those guys started to be pushed out the door, and they were never replenished with guys of the same stature, right? And by the time Aaron got to that 2022 phase, that team, I mean, as Jason knows now, and it still as we still talk about it today, right? It's a very young team, and Aaron didn't really, at least the way I saw it, didn't really recognize that team anymore, right? It was so different than what he was used to, and the culture that he was that he liked so much about the organization. Like, even when LaFleur came in 2019, that was a veteran team, man. Like, that team was a very veteran-based team. It was a very tight-knit team. And as time went on there, they slowly started to just cut loose those older guys until they got to 2022, and then it was the youngest team in the league. And that's kind of where they've been since then, right? And it's continued on that path. So I don't know what culture would best fit that. I mean, you look at the culture right now that best fits that, I'm looking at Minnesota. To me, that's the best fit. I've been saying it for like 3 weeks now.
But they're younger than Pittsburgh. But that's the thing. So, let's go back for a second, Brian, because you bring up a bunch of good points. So then for both of you, if I were to say blindly, if we never heard about this report with Rodgers looking for a Packers-like culture in his next stop, we never heard about this, right? And I were to blindly say to you guys, define what Packers culture is.
Well, I would say this. I would say that what Brian's talking about, and first, before we move forward, because, Brian, you said you hadn't seen this, and you know that I love to read on the radio. So let me just read what Albert Breer wrote, because I think this is more, I want to say, educated guess and conversations with people in Rodgers' orbit and not talking to Rodgers himself.
Well, that's for sure, because I don't know, Jeff Darlington, Jason, before you read this, because it's a good add-on to what you just said, Jeff Darlington, ESPN NFL reporter, was on with us this morning, and he said no one actually knows because Rodgers doesn't have a circle. And I said, well, what shape does he have? A triangle, a square? He said a dot, just him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's a pretty good line.
I mean, if it's it's a dot and maybe it's a dot with maybe a very small dot next to it. Like he's got representation, but the representation is just who echoes what he wants to get out. So like that's essentially what it is. I mean, and I think he's earned that right. I mean, that's the way it goes, right? I mean, it's his message, what he wants out there.
He can do whatever the hell he wants. He's not breaking laws, hurting people, not doing anything. Like he may not be everyone's favorite, mine included. He's not hurting people. He's not harming people. He's not breaking laws. For me, he's just become a guy that, like, I wouldn't be overly interested to go to lunch with, and he wouldn't be overly interested to go to lunch with me. No big deal. Anyway, Jason, go ahead.
Here's what Albert Breer wrote.
That's why Jason feels about me, too. So go ahead, Jason Breer.
That's not entirely true. I've heard Rodgers is looking for a culture such as one in Green Bay. I get it if that sounds a little strange after the drama of the four-time MVP's final years as a Packer. But over the past few months, Rodgers has been open with people around him on his renewed appreciation for what he had for 18 seasons in Wisconsin. Call it a grass is greener dynamic if you want, but it definitely has felt to some of those around him like spending a couple of years as a New York Jet made Rodgers view the situation he had more favorably. Okay? So that's what Albert Breer wrote. I have said this
He went
lots
from the library to the circus. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's Tausch would be proud of that analogy. But here's my criticism that I've had from
then I don't like it.
Then I don't like it.
Because I said Tauschwood. Yeah, I got it. I got that. Yeah. So my harshest critique of him, especially in the 2022 season, and those that listen to the show regularly have heard this, I didn't like, because Bryan made a great point. It was veteran-laden teams, guys that he knew what they were doing. Right? There was a professionalism as opposed to having to teach young guys how to be pros. But my argument was always he could have handled it as being fun Uncle Aaron. Right? He's the much older guy. They bring in Dobbs and Samori Toure and Christian Watson at wide receiver in 22. They trade away Devontae Adams. He has Alan Lazard and he has Randall Cobb. But the vestiges of his veteran-laden team, they're already starting to dissipate. So instead of pivoting and saying, all right, I'm going to embrace these young guys, I'm going to pour everything I have into them, instead he's pissed off that he's got these young receivers who don't know what they're doing. And I think he's one of those guys. I was saying this to Chewy and Gabe this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. He's not one to come out and flat out say, I was wrong. That's not his deal. But I thought if you watched Hard Knocks the year that he blew out his Achilles, and I don't think it was just acting for the cameras, I think he realized, he went to the offseason program, he really tried very hard to connect with those young players there. That was his way of admitting, I didn't do a good job of this in my last year in Green Bay. So for me, what Albert Breer is writing here tracks a little bit. And my hope, and maybe I'm just an optimist, is that he is recognizing, you know what, I have to do things differently if I want to finish my Hall of Fame first ballot career on a much higher note than what happened in New York. And I do think that matters.
Let me ask you this then,
Mm-hmm.
Jason. Bryan, let me ask you this, guys. If you're a Packers fan today, are you puffed? You hear Jason read this from Albert Breer of SI. Are you puffing out your chest a little bit saying, see, I told you so? Mm-hmm. We are actually headed in a great direction. You should have stayed with us. Or are you like, I'm wondering how the Packer fan feels that there is a chance Aaron Rodgers is looking to recreate the Green Bay Packers somewhere else. Can't eliminate an owner, obviously. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I mean, I think a lot of franchises, from a culture standpoint, would love to recreate from a culture standpoint what the Green Bay Packers have. Obviously, no owners want to create what the Green Bay Packers have because of the financials of it. But from a culture standpoint, when coaches go to a place, that is the type of culture, because it's all about football, right? And I think that's another thing Aaron misses, that like everything is so about football. And when he went to the Jets, there's a lot of things that aren't about football going on in that building, right? And he talked about it, about people leaking things outside, that you didn't know who was leaking things to the media and this and that. And that doesn't happen in Green Bay, right? Like it's all about the team, and it's all about what can propel the team to win. And I think that's probably another, aspect to this of the culture that he's looking to get back into. And I guess, from that standpoint, yeah, maybe that is Pittsburgh as well. Pittsburgh maybe fits that bill with Mike Tomlin and kind of what he does. And I get the Vikings are probably a younger roster, but if you look at what offensively the Vikings have, it's so much more complete. It's so much more complete for what he needs. And the defenses, obviously with Flores and what they do, is so, I mean, and I'm not saying Pittsburgh doesn't have a good defense. They do with Watt and those guys, like they're good defense. But what Minnesota has at their ready right now, this is before the draft, Aaron Rodgers walks in there, and that's a ready-made team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's the same scheme. He knows the head coach. The receivers are dynamic. The tight end's dynamic. The running back's dynamic. The offensive line is good. I mean, it's a really good setup, and the defense is good. It's aggressive. It's a very takeaway-oriented defense with Flores. Like, to me, it's the best setup. But I mean, I keep, because I listen. I mean, I listen to clips of you guys and Canty, and he keeps talking about the Steelers. I don't see the Steelers. I don't see how it fits. I don't see how it fits.
I think you're right, and I've been on that the entire time of like, I don't think he's going there, because if he was going there, he would have been there already. Part of me thinks he wants an excuse to go to the Giants. But I am fascinated by something else that you just said, Brian. When you say it's all about football in Green Bay, and that is what other teams are trying to copy and may not be able to. Like, is there a tangible example where you would say, in Green Bay we handled it this way, and when I went to the Chargers, this would never have been handled this way if it was in Green Bay?
I just think when things aren't going well, right? Like when you hit a rough patch throughout a season, there isn't any wavering or looking over your shoulder or worried about potentially what an owner may think or the pressure a coach may feel about what an owner is thinking in Green Bay. It is all about the next one, where I think potentially in LA. I was in LA for the 2 years. Anthony Lynn was fired in the first year. He was gone, and it was most likely the writing was on the wall probably by week 11 or 12, right? Like, it was probably at that point, probably when we got blown out by New England. I think we lost like 45-0. It was probably done at that.
You guys were horrific on special teams in that game. It was one of the worst coach games I've ever seen in my life. That was an awful performance by the Chargers that day.
Yeah, so at that point in time, the writing's on the wall, right? And but that never happened in Green Bay. But you hit a rough patch like that where you lose it.
You just said something fascinating. You just said, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm dying. I'm so into this right now. What you just said to me is when you play for the Packers, no one is in job preservation mode. That's
I never noticed that. Yeah.
And that's probably why, Jason, when you guys got the news about McCarthy, it was so stunning because you've never covered someone in job preservation mode where people are working like, oh, my God, we have to keep our jobs, not do our jobs.
Well, and Bryan was on that team, and I would think that you would feel the same way as me about that instance specifically of we kind of thought it was the beginning of the end for Mike. We'd never thought they were going to fire him with 4 games left in the season.
No. Well,
Because
exactly.
it's the Packers.
Right, and because it was knee-jerkish by Mark Murphy. Like, it was so poorly planned that, Mike had to come back into the building the next day to say goodbye to his players because of the way the president did that. But, Bryan, back to your point, that dynamic is that moment sticks out so much because it's so rare.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, rarely, and listen, those 2 seasons, 17 and 18, were rough, right? Like, obviously, Mike got fired in 18, but 17 was no better, right? Like, 17 was a bad season, too. And if you remember 16, even though we made it to the NFC Championship, 16 was bad. We lost 6 straight and rattled off 9 straight to get to the NFC Championship. Right. So there were signs that things were starting to go a little shaky, right? Like, but for somehow we righted the ship in 16 and went on a run and got there, right? But the signs were there. But there was never a time in 17 that, like, guys were like, all right, like, that you could feel that, like, Mike or the coaching staff were, like, really, like, coaching for their jobs. Like, you never felt that, right? Like, it was just like, we have to get back on track here. Like, we know who we have in this locker room. We know the guys, let's put wins together. And you never felt that until, you had an idea in 18 that a change probably was going to be made at the end of the season. Like, you kind of knew it, because it was not acceptable to lose that many games in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers in a row. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, and everyone's got a part to play in it, right? But, like, unfortunately, the head coach takes the brunt of that before any players. That's just the way it goes when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. But, like, no one expected it to be with 4 games left, right? Like, just no one really expected that. That's why that kind of stands out as a shocking moment. But to me, that's what stands out different than other places. And again, I only played in 2. Like, Evan, Chris played, who you co-host with, he played in a few different places. But he was never in Green Bay where he didn't have that dynamic, but he played with owners. He played with good owners too, right? In different spots. But, it's, to me, that was the dynamic that I noticed a lot. Like, you could feel vibe changes in the building.
Yeah. For sure. The way you're laying it out makes so much sense. He I don't want to speak for him, but he visited the Packers twice on free agent visits and did not sign. He played for, the Giants when they were at their peak, won a Super Bowl, the Ravens, obviously. And at the time he was with the Cowboys, it's interesting because the owner that everyone rags on now, and Jerry Jones, was superseded by Bill Parcells because he played for Parcells there.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different than what you experience now in Dallas.
Yes. Very different. Very, very different, I would say.
Evan, we will talk to you next week when Tausch is scheduled to be back so you two can do your verbal jousting that I know you both enjoy so much. We appreciate your insights today. This was fun. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That is Evan Cohen. You can hear him on Unsportsmanlike with the aforementioned Chris Canty and, of course, Michelle Smallman. I want to come back to this. We still have another segment in the 9 o'clock hour. So it's almost like when Bryan Bulaga is a guest on the show. We do the same thing. So we got a little more, but I do want to ask one follow-up to what Bryan was saying there. We'll get to that coming up. I want to remind you, and Evan even mentioned this, Verizon is giving you a chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 NFL Draft right here in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. So don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations and enter by April 13th. So, again, swing by your local Verizon store. Make sure you get registered for this great opportunity. More with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Evan Cohen on Wilde and Tausch is brought to you by Verizon. Verizon is the official 5G network of the NFL. Visit a Madison area Verizon store today.
Hey, it's Jesse Nelson to tell you about Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar, proud partners of the NFL and the NFL Draft. 30 days away. That's where we stand right now from the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay. And you know, if you're heading up to the draft, if you're watching the games this week, if you're getting out for opening day next week, you're going to want to have Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar in hand. The perfect tailgate mixer. Pepsi, if you're heading up to the draft, this is super exciting. Pepsi is bringing back the Pepsi Challenge that everybody loves for the NFL Draft. Visit the NFL experience and put your taste buds to the test. Pepsi, of course, with Pepsi Zero Sugar is incredible. Have you tried it yet? It's all the great taste of a Pepsi with zero sugar, 0 calories. It is delicious. And again, it makes a great mixer if you're at a tailgate party, or of course, if you want to have it in hand if you're heading up to the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar, proud partner of the NFL and the NFL Draft.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. John Tonje's potential game-tying shot no good with seconds to go. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Matt Hamilton here. As a proud Wisconsinite, I'm all about supporting local. And there's nothing more local than Metcalf's Market. Metcalf's Rewards is your key to incredible savings. With thousands of coupons available every week, loyal members enjoy special pricing on select sale items. Plus, it's free to join. And when you sign up in-store using your phone number, new members instantly receive 500 points, equivalent to $5 off your purchase. Visit Metcalf's Market in Hilldale, near West Town Mall, or in Wauwatosa today, and start saving with Metcalf's Rewards. Metcalf's Market. Bring local home.
Professional volleyball is in full swing from here in Madison. Don't miss a second of the action. Cheer on Love Madison Volleyball as they make history with some of the best players in the world. Olympic medalists, NCAA All-Americans, and one of the most talented rookie classes ever. This is volleyball at its highest level. Experience the excitement yourself. Get your tickets today at lovb.com. Volleyball is the next major league. Bring the energy and be a part of history in Madison. Join us for the inaugural League One volleyball season. The second half of the season is heating up, so don't miss your chance to see these incredible athletes up close at the Alliant Energy Center. Follow Love Madison Volleyball on their journey to the first ever championship in Louisville from April 11th through the 13th. Get your tickets now at lovb.com and be a part of this game-changing season. Volleyball is the next major league.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
I remember the nights when we were young, dumb, and wild and free. When I closed my eyes, I could see you in my
sweatshirt, dancing around that college bar. These days I don't know where you are, but I get to keep these memories forever.
Thanks as always, Devin Cohen, for joining us. It was a very interesting conversation, even though I try to avoid too much Aaron Rodgers talk on our program, since I know there are some that are not interested in that discussion. You mentioned something interesting, though, and I want to quickly circle back to it. So in 2017, Rodgers breaks his collarbone. You tear an ACL for the second time in your career, correct?
Yep.
That team was off to a 4-1 start.
Mm-hmm.
I always love the story about Davante Adams in Dallas, and Rodgers throws an incomplete pass with a chance to go take the lead late in the game in the red zone, and Davante comes back to the huddle and says, run that play again, but throw a better damn pass, which told me where I love that story. Rodgers shared that story, and it's one of my favorites because it tells you that was when Davante Adams became the number one receiver. And Jordy Nelson was supportive of that, and that's why they didn't need to cut him in 2018, but that takes us down another path that I don't want to go down. But you guys were off to a really good start that year. And then Rodgers breaks his collarbone. It's more severe than the time he broke it in 2013. He's not anywhere close to being the same. You guys go to Carolina and you lose. They put Rodgers right back onto IR. And that season, like you said, you didn't have Rodgers for most of it. Brett Hundley was not good, and that's a lost season. And then 18, you just had that feeling that, especially with Aaron and Mike, that things had kind of run their course. What is that like as a season when you kind of can feel that undercurrent of this? Because you knew what good teams look like. You knew what connected teams look like. Was that just what was that like for you as you were coming back from the ACL in 18 to kind of have that vibe about that team?
Yeah, when I was coming back in, the 2014 season from the ACL, and, you're working back into that team, and, everyone knows that team. That 2014 team was amazing. It was fantastic. And you could feel that in training camp. You could feel that in OTAs. And when I got back into that lineup in OTAs, you could just feel it immediately in 2014 that it was all right, this team is ridiculous. This team's going to be amazing. Everything is clicking. Everything's good. Since I tore my ACL later in that season in 2017, I didn't get to start working back with the team until late training camp. So when I got back in late training camp, normally you would expect, things to be pretty fluid and working well and clicking by the end of training camp. And when I got back in to practicing full speed with the team, the offense just didn't seem to be going the way it normally does, right? And you listen, there's times throughout training camp where the offense has a bad day or a bad few days and it's up and down a little bit, and that happens, and that's okay, right? You work through those things, and the coaches tell you it's the end of the world, and it's really not, and you find your way through it. But this was it felt different. It felt like it felt like there was an obstacle in front of us, right? It just felt like we were not going to be able to push through it no matter what we were doing. It would be like we would take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back, and it just felt like we were constantly doing that, and we never could get our footing. And then we get into the regular season and it just continued to feel like that, and we just never could get a rhythm offensively, and we all know that for our team at that point in time, with the defense that we had good players defensively, but we knew if our offense can't go out there and score 28 or so points a game and really take pressure off our defense and get them off the field and get them to a point of the game where they can pass rush and be super aggressive and play the style that they want to play, it's going to be difficult, right? We're going to put our defense in bad spots, and that's what we did constantly to our defense. And that's what the record showed, right? Like we couldn't finish drives. We were 3 and out a bunch. It just was sloppy. And that's what it felt like. And it was just a very odd, weird season. And you could feel it in training camp. You could just feel that something wasn't right from an offensive standpoint from the jump, and it carried over into the season. And so it wasn't shocking to me how we performed throughout the year, right? Like normally, like in 2016, it's a great example. Like we had ups and downs in 2016 during training camp. Like we had good moments, and then we had bad moments where we were being told, like, like I said earlier, like the world's ending. You got, this is, but like we pulled out of that, and we ended up, and we went through a bad skid throughout the regular season, but we pulled out of that and did what we were able to do. So like there's ways to get yourself out of that and connect and come together and win a lot of games. There was there was no feeling of that in 2018. Like, you just didn't have that feeling that we had that in us to be able to get out of that. And that was a very bad, like a weird, bad feeling that I had never had in Green Bay. Like it just was, right? Like, because forever, and I'll say this, and I don't care what people say or any, like I knew and I always felt like as long as Aaron Rodgers was healthy and our offensive line was doing their job and we could give him time, he could win us football games. Like he could win. Like he could get us out of issues and he could make things happen and like that's what it is. It wasn't happening. And like it you know what I mean? Like, we could give him 5 seconds. We can give him 6 seconds. It just wasn't working. And that was the nature of it. And like there was no and the crazy thing about that season too, like you would expect infighting in-house between players. There wasn't. There was no finger pointing. There was no blaming. I don't remember any of that. There was none of that. It was just like a collective looking at each other like, what the hell is going on? And no one could put their finger on it. And yeah, that's the best way. I don't know how else to describe it, but it was a very, very weird feeling.
Yeah, and the results were what they were as a result. So I appreciate that insight, Brian. Hey, this show, you don't have that feeling. When Bryan Bulaga's here, the energy, he can go win the show for us, just like Aaron Rodgers. And speaking of winning, when it comes to being injured and needing representation, you want people who win. You want people that don't take a penny from you unless they win. And that, of course, is Gruber Offices. One call, that's all. 414-276-6666. 414-276-6666. Or go to the website, gruber-law.com, to find out more about the firm, all the great lawyers that are there, everything David and his family do in our communities, and more importantly, to start the process if you need their help to get on the right side of the system. Gruber Law Offices, one call, that's all. The 10 o'clock hour starts very late, but that's just okay because we've got Bryan Bulaga as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
Hey, it's Kelly Sheffield, Wisconsin Badgers volleyball head coach. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out at 220 State Street and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Milwaukee Bucks fall 108-106 in Phoenix against former head coach Mike Budenholzer and the Suns last night. Back and forth game, really fun fourth quarter. Bucks come up on the wrong end, though, of a Devin Booker game-winning mid-range jumper with about 2 seconds left in last night's contest. Suns win 108-106. The Bucks conclude their West Coast road trip tomorrow night, visiting Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Tip time set for 8 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 here on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN. Quick check of where the Bucks stand right now with a couple of weeks left in the NBA's regular season. Milwaukee in the 5th position in the Eastern Conference standings, 2 full games back of the Indiana Pacers for the 4th spot. Just a half game up on the Detroit Pistons, who are in the 6th position in the Eastern Conference standings. Remember, the top 6 avoid those play-in games. NBA tonight on 100.5 ESPN. Golden State, Miami. Coverage starts at 6.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour, even though if it feels like the 11 o'clock hour, or the 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. Now, Brian, Jesse has quite the rundown of different segments scheduled. But, A, we'd like to get back onto the clock in some small form or fashion. And B, we have something from RJ in the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube comments.
Okay.
And I really want to get to this, and I want to have us have enough time. So we're going to do this next. So for those that feel like the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube comments get ignored, RJ feels a little Chicken Little-ish on this, but it has piqued my interest, and I think it'll pique yours as well. So before we do that, Jesse, let's get through your Power Rankings Tuesday to kick off the 10 o'clock hour, and then we'll push some of your other great ideas later in the show. Let's do some Power Rankings.
I do love some Power Rankings, and ESPN's NFL Nation has assembled their post-free agency Phase 1 Power Rankings. So pre-draft, post-free agency Phase 1, because there's Phase 2 apparently coming. It's like a Marvel Cinematic Universe, all this stuff going on. Anyway, in at number, Bryan Bulaga, how do you want to do this? Because Tausch likes to play different games with the Power Rankings, where he likes to guess, or sometimes he just says, you read them to me and I'll give you or whatever. So how would you like to review the Power Rankings, Mr. Bulaga?
What were those sound effects?
Why don't you just tell me? Why don't you just tell me what they have them ranked? Let's hear the rankings.
Why don't you just tell me what they're ranked? Okay, I will do that.
Let's see.
Number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Despite losing in the Super Bowl, they check in at number 1 in the post-free agency Phase 1 Power Rankings. In at number 2, up 4 spots from where they were ranked a month ago, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the defending Super Bowl champions, for whatever reason, were ranked 5th in the Power Rankings. They are now up to number 2 in this phase. Number 3, staying put right where they were, the Detroit Lions. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. Number 5, the Baltimore Ravens.
I feel like this is that Price is Right game. Again, the yodeling guy going up the ramp, up the hill, up the mountain, and we just keep waiting for him to get to the point where we get to the Packers, except this one he's going the other way. He's starting at the top of the mountain, and he's going down. And I got to tell you, Jesse's got a ways to go still. Jesse, keep going.
Number 6, the Washington Commanders. One postseason run, and suddenly look at where this team is, 6th in these Power Rankings. Number 7, the Cincinnati Bengals, bringing back some of those big paying wide receivers.
That one doesn't make sense. That one, I don't
Prisoner
understand.
of the moment.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. You have the worst ranked defense in the NFL, and you sign your 2 wide receivers. I get it; they're really good, but you do nothing on defense. But okay, but continue. Go ahead.
Number 8, up 4 spots from where they were ranked a month ago. The Los Angeles Rams in at number 8, ahead of the Green Bay Packers. Speaking of which, number 9, the Green Bay Packers. There they are, still top 10.
Okay.
In at number 9, down 2 spots from where they were ranked a month ago before free agency opened. And just for context, number 10 to round out the top 10, the Minnesota Vikings. That's your ESPN NFL Nation Power Rankings.
So the Packers are 4th, though, among NFC teams, which I think is noteworthy. And look, this is way premature. The draft is still ahead, etc. But, Brian, to this point, I mean, I would put the Vikings behind them because we don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to be, right? Yep. We know what Sam Darnold did last year, but, hey, at this time last year, we thought they were going to maybe start their rookie quarterback last year. We didn't think Sam Darnold was capable of playing the way he did. But I don't have a problem with where the Packers are at right now. They didn't add anything that makes you think, oh, that's going to create a big jump like they did with Xavier McKinney or with Josh Jacobs. So I'm okay with where they're pegged. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with it. And the thing is, like, Homer and I talked about this yesterday too with the free agent moves. The 2 moves that were made that were obviously their big splash buys or whatever you want to call it that were more unknown because of the names. Those are going to be signings that we don't know about yet until they actually start playing real ball, right? Like those are names that you're not going to really know about until we see them play. The offensive linemen in particular, those are never signings that people really think are sexy signings. They're just not, right? Like it's a left guard. Why do people find that interesting? What does that do? That's not a wide receiver. That's not scoring me touchdowns or getting me sacks or getting me in, you know what I mean? Like, so I understand it from a perspective, like he signed a guard, like, okay, great. But we all certainly remember what happened when Elton Jenkins left the game against the Eagles, and no one really liked that. So you got to look at it from certain angles of what Goody did and why he did it. And then the DB, we have to wait and see how he's deployed on the defense. So like,
right.
But from your standpoint, what you said, yeah, like I'm fine with where they're at. Like that's, to me, it's fine. They added a couple guys that, were areas of need, in my opinion. How they pan out is what we're going to end up seeing. When this comes to fruition, week 1, because that's how we're going to find out how these guys play. I mean, we knew about Jacobs and McKinney, right? Like you said last year, we knew about these 2 guys before they even stepped on the field. Like Jacobs, stud, McKinney, stud. We understood that. These 2 guys, we're going to have to wait to see how they play week 1, and that's how we're going to determine this.
So they are 4th among NFC teams, 2nd among NFC North teams. But RJ's question in the YouTube comments, not quite as optimistic. Okay. We're going to see if we have the answers to make RJ feel a little bit better about this coming season, because here's what RJ wrote. Jason, can we be honest about the notion that we could very well be 4th in our division this year? Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
We'll talk about that possibility. I'm not sure I'd call it a likelihood. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Hey, football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets for the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois. Age 21 years or older. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Mark Tusher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
And Madison.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or Brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Champions aren't made overnight, and neither was Pizza Hut's Stuffed Crust Pizza. They're the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others may try to copy, but they're not like Pizza Hut. For a limited time, score big with a large 3-topping Stuffed Crust Pizza for just $11.99. It's perfect for watching big games on the go. Hurry, you won't want to miss this championship deal before it's gone. Head to one of their locations or order online at pizzahut.com. Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Need new tires? For a limited time at Zimbrick Honda, you can buy 3 tires and get the 4th for only $1. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
All you have is one chance after an accident, one decision on who to call, one shot to get the help you need. Don't waste it on the one offer you get from your insurance company. Make the one call to Gruber Law Offices. It's the only one you'll need to make. Call us today. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Madison on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into this season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Before we get to our conversation about the Packers, the breaking news from the University of Wisconsin. Chris McIntosh, the athletic director, has hired Robin Pingeton as the new head coach of the women's basketball program. Was at Missouri for the last 15 seasons. Reached the NCAA tournament 4 of those 15 seasons. So she is the new head coach of the Badgers women's basketball team, for those of you that are interested in that, and for those of you, meaning me, who wanted to see Brad Fisher get an opportunity for that job. That will not happen. All right.
Leaving the SEC for the Big Ten, a little more significant than leaving the WEAC for the Big Ten.
Yeah, I don't think she resigned, but I don't think she resigned, if you know what I mean. Brian, you said something interesting about the 2018 season. And I wanted to tie that together to what AJ wrote in the YouTube comments for the ESPN Milwaukee channel. Can we be honest about the notion that we could very well be fourth in our division this year? Perhaps we top Minnesota for third, but I can even see Chicago beating us twice this year unless Love truly levels up. Now, look, I am not in any way saying that this will be another 2018, okay? You said you could feel that even in training camp. What I do think this season is a pivotal year in where exactly is this quarterback, this philosophy of young teams, this coach, this general manager, where are they headed? Because this is year 3 of the Jordan Love era. And whether it's fair or not, year 3 of the Aaron Rodgers era, including with the youngest player to ever start a Super Bowl playing right tackle, won a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that is, if they don't win a Super Bowl in Love's third season as the starter, that it is an abject failure, but level up is a good phrase for what this team needs to do. And in fairness to RJ, who may feel a little doomsday-ish with his post, they did go 1-5 in the division. They went 0-6 against the 3 teams in the NFC that had better records than them. So I don't know how good they really were last year. They have some good numbers. Their defensive numbers were good. Their offensive numbers, even though it didn't feel like they were as good as their numbers said they were good. Top 10 in yards, top 10 in scoring offense. So, Brian, when you look at this team as we get ready for the draft and then we head toward training camp through the offseason program, how are we at an inflection point with this team, and what are your expectations? Because mine are not for them to finish fourth in the division, but as much as I want to be dismissive of RJ, I can't just say, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't think I can do that.
No, I mean, listen, I don't think that fourth in the division is going to be where they are at. But at the same time, like, you can't deny the fact that Chicago has taken the steps to get better, right? They've aggressively gone out and tried to address their weakest area of need, and that's the offensive line. Like, they've aggressively gone out and have addressed that issue to protect their biggest investment, and that's their quarterback. Now, how that pays off, we'll see. They're still very weak at the tackle position, and how they figure that out, we'll see. But again, they've taken the steps necessary to address that area. And Chicago will be better, right? Like, I mean, naturally, they're going to be better than they were last year. I think Green Bay will too. How Minnesota plays out all depends on that quarterback. Like you mentioned a little while ago, we don't know anything about him, and now he's had another knee surgery to clean up whatever was going on in there prior. So that's 2 knee surgeries in essentially a year. Don't really know what's happening inside there. So that's areas of concern, which I know they said that they're going with McCarthy, right? Like Minnesota said, that's their guy. But when you start to have multiple scopes in a knee, as a guy that's had multiple knee surgeries, I've had multiple scopes in my knee. I've had them cut open for ACLs. I've had scopes in them. There's something going on, right? Like, I mean, they don't go in there for nothing. So that makes you start to think now, is an Aaron Rodgers if they bring in a guy like that, that makes Minnesota all of a sudden it's a different dynamic there, and that makes it very interesting. And then where does that put Minnesota in this thing? And now Detroit, yes, they lose their coordinators, both of them, right? They lose both guys, but it doesn't take away from the talent on the team, right? The team is talented, so you have to assume that they're going to remain, odds-on favorite to start this thing as, the leaders in the clubhouse in the division. But, hey, different guys calling plays, different guys in situations, how they do things change, right? Like, it does make a difference, but it all depends on how who Dan Campbell puts in those spots and how those guys react and how they utilize the players at their disposal. But Green Bay does, this is a pivotal year. Year 3, I always say, like, right, we looked at it as year 1 as like the rebuild year, right? Like Jordan Love's first year, really no expectation, and they overperformed greatly, right? How far they made it, how he played, no one really expected it. They made a really good run in the playoffs, probably should have made it to the NFC Championship. They didn't, whatever. Okay. Second year, he was injured a little bit. They obviously brought in Jacobs. He performed well. The defense performed well. They made it to the playoffs, obviously lost to the Super Bowl champion. Played better in that game than a lot of people expected, to be honest with you. I thought they played better than what a lot of people talked about with Elton getting hurt and how they hung in that game. But now we go into year 3, right? And, like, now it's time to take that step. It's time to show, like, what this team's about, because the philosophy that was being built before Jordan took over with Aaron, right, was the youth movement, right? Like, it was, we're going to go younger, right? And you can't continue, or at least in the mindset is like, hey, we're just a young team. We got to wait for these guys to get older. We've been saying that now for 3 or 4 years now. They are older now, right? Like, they've gotten older. So this is the time now. Like, this is where we have to see these guys step up and play well, and they have the ability to. It just has to show. And it is a big year, because we can talk about the coach and all that. The coach has shown he can do it, right? Like, the coach has shown from 2019, 2020, 2021, with certain players at his disposal, he wins games. He wins a lot of games. Even in Jordan Love's first year, won a lot of games. Last year, he won games. So, like, the coach can win games. It's not, to me, it's not like a coaching crisis. The players at this point now need to take it upon themselves and go do it. They need to go do it. And that's, in a locker room, you always need to look internally and say, all right, this is what we thought we did last year wasn't good enough, right? And I think if you look at the guys in there and kind of the messaging as they left at those exit interviews, Tucker Kraft stands out after hearing his exit interview. Like, it jumps off the page to me, right? Like, I remember when I listened to his audio when he did his exit interview, not exit interview, but his interview with you guys as he left. It jumped off the page to me because he was honest, right? Like, he was really honest. Like, it wasn't good enough. Guys needed to step up or something of that nature.
We need to wake up. Wake up, he said.
Yeah. So, like, the message is pretty clear, right, with guys within the locker room of what the expectations are. And I think it's going to be better. But the reality is, it's not going to be easy in the division. The division is not easy. The division is very competitive. So, like, you have to be ready to play. Like, it reminds me of my earlier time, like probably my second year in the NFC North, when Minnesota was good, Chicago was good, we were good, and obviously Detroit wasn't good, but they had pieces. They had Sue, they had Fairley, they had Stafford, they had Kelvin Johnson, they had Vanden Bosch. They had a lot of good players, and they could beat you on any given day. And you had to be wary when you played them. That's kind of like what Chicago has going right now, right? Like, that's where Chicago is kind of finding their way right now. So you have to be ready every time you play the division that you can get beat. And that's where Green Bay, I don't see, the 1-5, but you got to be ready to improve upon that, because you can't have that again. You just can't go through that again.
All right, I want to continue this conversation. I know Jesse wants to get to trivia as well, so we've got that all coming up. We can't do what we normally do with Bryan, which is keep him longer than he's scheduled to appear, because we can't have you stay for a fourth hour.
Unfortunately,
right?
Works.
Well, yeah, you also have to get in position to, pick up the kids from school.
That's
you
true.
A lot going on today. You're in super dad mode. So,
it's true.
And by the end of the day, after they've all gone to sleep and you've made it through another day without Abby, you, like Tausch, can crack open a Coors Light. Here's Tausch telling us about Coors Light with more with Bryan Bulaga. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Well, whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, or celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and it's cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans, they turn blue. That's when you know it is chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge.
It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Thursday on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
March is bonus time at Audi Madison. Save $3,000 on select 2025 Audi A3, A4, A5, or Q7 models. Save $4,000 on select 2025 A6, Q5, or Q8 models. Customer bonus applied towards the purchase or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until March 31st. Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
I'm John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. We've been at the heart of many magical moments, from engagements to weddings to sweet 16s. It warms my heart to be a part of these moments for 40 years with people I consider family. With the highest standards and an eye for classic beauty, enjoy a warm boutique setting at Goodman's Jewelers, where integrity shines in every gem. At 220 State Street, Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store, Madison, since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's. With the next pick in the big draft, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dane County selects you. As we count down to the draft in Green Bay, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is also counting on you to help meet the growing demand of mentorship in our community. Become a role model, a motivator, a supporter, a positive influence. Empower the young people in our community to create a brighter future for all. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Dane County presents the Big Draft in partnership with the NFL Inspire Change. Learn how to get involved at bbbsmadison.org.
Staying on Wisconsin sports never stops with the Jump Around podcast.
Last year, they did the same damn thing. I'm sure if we had done the show last year, everyone's excited about them coming in, right? They lost to Illinois in the Big Ten title game. So I'm just, again, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I'm going to go with the fool me.
All right.
That's the route I'll go on. I'll die on that.
The Jump Around Podcast with Jim Rutledge and Pablo Iglesias. Streaming live every Thursday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
Brewers baseball is in the air.
It's back, and it is up, and it is gone. A walk-off homer for Vinny Capra.
Spring back into the baseball season on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Slow down on Monday, not a sound. On Wednesday, might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. Lose my sense of time or 2 weeks feel like days. Medicaid in the afternoon, and I just want to know, have you?
All right, we're going to play trivia next, but I just want to put a bow, as Tausch would say, on this finishing fourth in the division conversation. And the bow is this, Bryan. If you had to pick one thing that concerns you as of today, okay, not who knows what's going to happen in the draft, but as we stand here today on March 25th, 2025, the year of our Lord, what is the one thing that concerns you about this team the most right this second?
Ooh, right this second, the thing that worries me the most.
Mine's the pass rush. Mine's the pass rush that we watched what Philly could do with rushing four. The Packers showed no evidence of that. They're holding out hope that somehow the same guys with maybe a draft pick addition will be better in year two of the system. And to me, that is something that if you can get pressure with four, it changes everything. We saw other teams do it, but they have not been able to do it. They can't manage pressure with just four pass rushers. That's my number one concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's up there. That those if those guys step up and make a leap from last year to this year. To me, it's still, even though we've talked about this probably a month ago, how this could be more of a tight end centric offense going forward, right? More two tight end sets and how that could look. And as good as I think the two lead guys in this wide receiver room are, because I mean, I still had Dobbs in it, but I don't know how, like we talked about head injuries and start this thing, and I hate to go there, but like Dobbs has had two bad concussions, right? Like, and
right.
The way he was carried off after that Philly game, it makes me sick to my stomach. So I don't know how he is and how he's going to be, right? Like, and they're in Green Bay, there's no one more cautious with those things than Flea and Nate and those guys over there. They're very good with those things. So, like, I don't know how he's going to be, right? But I look at the two other guys, Wicks and Reed. I think they're very good players, right? Like, I think they're very good. But in today's NFL and the style of system that LaFleur plays, I mean, if it isn't just a two tight end set all the time, right? Like, and because if we do two tight end sets and two wide receivers, okay, well then that's very simple, right? That's easy enough. You get those two guys, your two tight ends, okay, well, fine, sounds good. But if you don't, then I'm concerned about what other guys you putting out there, because if you don't have anyone else besides those two guys, it's going to be very easy to shift coverage and rotate coverage to take those guys away. And then it puts pressure on guys to get open and for Love to force balls into places that he doesn't want to have to throw it. And then it causes issues. So obviously if Dobbs is good and you have those three guys, right, and you have those three dudes being able to work and they play up to their potential, yeah, I mean, like, I feel good about it. But right now, for me, it's the wide receiver room and those, and finding, if Dobbs is okay, right, that's assuming Dobbs is fine, finding a true, like, that fourth and fifth guy and completing that room. Because we all know things happen throughout a season, right? Hamstrings and things like that. Guys miss time from time to time. And, if guys miss time, who's filling in for them? And that's my biggest concern at this point. It's not about, are they good enough? I'm not worried about if they're good enough. Because I think Reed and those, the talent is there. It really is. This was not the conversation last year at this time. You know what I mean? It was not even close to the
conversation. What happens when you lose your last 3 games? That's what we do, though.
Yeah, I know. But, I'm just talking about from their talent standpoint. That was not – this was, you know what I mean? It's crazy what a year does talking about, the guys in that room. So, I think the talent's there. It's just them going out there and showing it. So, for me, I'm just going to say that room because I think the expectation of the production, is what I'm looking for. And I think they can do it. It's just we got to see it.
All right, let's play some trivia. Jesse, what's today's category, and what caller do you want?
We're going to have some fun today, Jason.
Oh, no.
Usually, we do Wisconsin Geography Wednesday on Wilde and Tausch.
Ooh.
And we still can tomorrow, but with Bryan Bulaga here and with me just being down in the great state of Iowa the other day.
You're huge in Dubuque.
Iowa Geography Tuesday makes a special appearance today.
Wow.
I don't know what the nickname is for Iowa. Is it the corn state? The
America needs farmers.
We don't score a lot here.
Yeah, because Wisconsin does a lot of that.
All right. Well, you can't get caller 0. So we'll have to do something else. Caller 10 right now. Caller 10, 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. You'll play trivia next. Want to remind you, as I always do, Associated Bank has been with us from the very beginning. More importantly, even though we love them and they've been a great partner of ours, they've been with the Packers from the very beginning. They were there when the team was founded back in 1919, and they're there for you today, making sure they have the best customer service in the industry. They've got early pay, so you have access to your direct deposit up to 2 days early. They've got credit monitoring that makes sure that your credit score is where you want it and make sure you haven't been subjected to any sort of fraud. They've got more than 30,000 ATMs that are surcharge-free, so you don't have to pay extra to get to your own money. And on top of that, Packers checking, Badgers checking, and Brewers checking to show your true team colors with your checking account. So go to AssociatedBank.com to find out more. Trivia's next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
because we're on Wisconsin sports,
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
You, rah, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Test rest a Beauty Rest Black for your chance to win a dream Hawaiian vacation. Shop now and save up to $400 on Beauty Rest Black mattresses only at Steinhoffels. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Oh my gosh, Allie, did you look at Janet's roof? Ugh, it's like so flat. It looks like one of those roofing contractor commercials. Who even understands those roofing guys anyways?
I like flat roofs and I cannot lie. You other contractors can't deny. TPO way up high. I'm hooked and I can't stop staring.
If you want a roof that's worth staring at, Avondale Roofing is where you go. Your roofing experts for over 30 years. AvondaleRoofing.com.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Madison on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
Finding the special healthcare resources families need just got easier. Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network helps kids with delays, disabilities, special healthcare needs, and mental health conditions. Call toll-free 877-947-2929. Ask questions, get answers. Connect today toll-free 877-947-2929. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into this season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Let's play some trivia. Iowa geography trivia. This is such a good idea, Jesse. Even though you're a jerk to Bryan for no real good reason, especially for a guy who didn't even go to Wisconsin. You went to Bradley. But
NIT
again,
quarterfinals tonight. Chattanooga doesn't know what's coming for him.
Don't want to miss that. It is Iowa Geography Tuesday. The category, the caller is Chad in Oregon. Chad, good morning. How are you?
Hey, morning, Jason. Morning, Blue. I'm good. How are you guys?
We are very good, and we're excited to play this. Bryan, you've got question 2. I've got question 1, and the question is this. Which of these Iowa cities, popular among Jesse and his buddies, is found on the border of both Wisconsin and Illinois on the banks of the Mississippi River? Is it Dubuque, Galena, or Kinnick?
That's going to be Dubuque.
Indeed. Jesse, so did you leave Dubuque up or down?
Down, which is normal weekend, but there's you got to factor in the expenses of the Airbnb and all the dinners.
From a purely those are all experiential though. From an actual wagering perspective, down.
Yeah, still down. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes us all happy.
Had a fun
Bryan,
time.
you've got
Chris in Baraboo, by the way, fan of the show. Chris in Baraboo. Friday night, I'm getting up, getting us some Coors Lights from the bar, He goes, "Hey, Jesse," calls me over. "Hey, can I get a picture with you? I recognized you sitting over there." Chris and Baraboo.
Wow.
Good time over at the casino in Dubuque.
Look at
watching the
you,
games.
Jesse.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Star. Absolute star.
Someday you'll get so lucky, Bulaga.
I don't think so. I don't think so. All right.
Bryan Bulaga and Jesse Nelson walk into a bar in Dubuque. Who gets noticed? Clearly, Jesse Nelson.
It's 2 years in a row. I've been.
All right. Next question. Longitudinally, nice, Jesse. Which of these Iowa college cities is located farthest west? Is it Iowa City, Cedar Falls, or Ames?
I'm going to go Cedar Falls, but I don't even know if that's a college town.
It is where northern Iowa is.
It's farther north, though.
Yeah. It's Lames. It's Lames, Iowa.
Ooh.
Unfortunately.
Good one.
Sick burn, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Is there, so quickly, so we can get to question 3, because Chad's got stuff to do. How strong of a challenge, or how strong of a rivalry is there between Iowa and Iowa State? It's not like they're in the same conference. Like, they're kind of the little brother that
Play
you pick
every
on.
year. Yeah.
I know
they play every year. Yeah, it's a huge deal for the Iowa kids. Like, all the kids that are from Iowa, it is a big, big, big deal. For me personally, it didn't do it for me. The game didn't really, the rivalry didn't do much for me. When we went to Ames, the fans treated us like crap, which I expected, which is fine. But, like, the game
kind of
didn't
like you get treated on the show here.
Yeah, I mean, but the game didn't mean anything more to me. Like, like I've always said, like, I like playing Wisconsin better. Like, that game meant more to me than playing Iowa State. Like, call me a bad Hawkeye, but that's just how I felt.
Okay. I got I found this on Poshmark, got it for $12. I've got my Iowa basketball sweatshirt now that Fran McCaffrey's not there anymore because I couldn't stand him. All right, question 3, Chad.
How long have you been waiting to wear that? He's been there
I just got it last
years.
week. I finally bought it. I would not buy it. Well, even as Caitlin Clark was playing great and whatever, I couldn't do it with Fran McCaffrey. Not a fan. All right, Chad, I am a fan of correct answers. So let's get one here. Which of these is not considered to be one of the 2 Iowa cities that makes up the Quad Cities region, along with Moline, Illinois, and Rock Island, Illinois? Okay? So 2 of these 3 cities are part of the Quad Cities. One of them is not. Is that one that is not part of the Quad Cities Davenport, Waterloo, or Bettendorf?
Oh, my God. I don't know Iowa like I thought I did.
Yeah, this is
Quad Cities is always a good trivia question, though. What are the 4 Quad Cities?
What is it, Beckenworth? Is that what you said?
Let me give you your choices again. Davenport, Waterloo, and Bettendorf. One of those 3 is not a member of the Quad Cities.
Yeah, I'll stick with Bettendorf, whatever it is.
Some might have thought that I was trying to help you. Some may not have caught that. Waterloo, the one that is not a member of the Quad Cities. All right, Chad.
It's a good little spot, the Quad Cities.
I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have gotten these either. I might have gotten Ames, maybe. All I'm saying is this was a fun concept. Not as fun to play, I'm going to say, unless we had gotten an Iowa native to play.
There's only so much geography in Iowa. Like, we got to make do with what we have.
Good
here.
one. See, you're always taking shots. Always taking shots. Chad, you got one right, so you got 2 entries into Friday's drawing. We appreciate your loyalty to the show. We appreciate you playing. Have a good one, buddy. Thanks.
You too. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right, that is Wilde and Tausch trivia. We've made up some ground. We're still lagging behind on the clock, but the 11 o'clock hour begins in 2 minutes. So stick around with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge. It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Thursday on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Milwaukee Brewers Baseball on ESPN Madison. Don't miss opening day in the Bronx. The Brewers visit the Yankees to start the 2025 MLB season. Brewers-Yankees Thursday afternoon on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. Last night you heard on Madison's home of the Bucks, Milwaukee falling in the desert to the Phoenix Suns and former head coach Mike Budenholzer. 108-106 the final last night. Devin Booker of the Suns, game-winning mid-range jumper with under 2 seconds to go. So the Bucks fall to 40-31 now on the season. That's good for 5th place still in the Eastern Conference standings. Quick check of where they stand. The Bucks 2 full games behind the Indiana Pacers for the number 4 position with a couple of weeks to go in the season. Just a half game up on the Detroit Pistons for the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. Remember, the top 6 do get to avoid those play-in tournament games. The Bucks' West Coast road trip continues tomorrow night. Actually concludes tomorrow night in Denver against Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. Tip time at 8 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 here on 100.5 ESPN. Tonight, Warriors Heat coverage starts at 6 after Jim Matt and Molly.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins very late, but not as late as the 10 o'clock hour did. Bryan Bulaga is in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better as he treks over those treacherous rocks between his home and his cold tub in his turf shoes. Bryan, normally we do tackle talk with you when you join us on Wednesdays. I have one short offensive line question for this segment, and then I have a longer one to delve into for the next one. And I actually get this question from Mark Chimura this morning on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, talking with him and Gabe this morning. What's the deal with Jacob Monk? What are we to think about him? Because, first of all, you mentioned it earlier in the show. If you missed this during the Philadelphia playoff game, everything went to hell when Elton Jenkins left the game 4 snaps in with a stinger. And they tried 2 different dudes, both of whom are tackles. First it was Travis Glover, then it was Kadeem Telfort, Telly Monster, as we like to call him if you're a Sesame Street fan. And neither one of them was good enough. They both got penalties. They both were, I don't want to say they were turnstiles, but they struggled. Again, and in fairness to them, they had played it like a combined 30 snaps of offense all year long. They are inexperienced tackles playing left guard against the best front 4 in the league. So surprise, surprise, didn't go well. But I wonder what exactly they have planned, if anything, for Jacob Monk, who was a college center. He also played both of the guard spots, though, so it's not like he can't play elsewhere. But he was a guy, 5th-round pick. You know as well as I do because he's one of your good friends. Corey Linsley was a 5th-round pick, and he wound up being one of the best centers in Packers history. There is value in those picks. You don't have to be a first-rounder like Bryan to be an effective NFL player. But Jacob Monk was active for the game. Now, he played 0 snaps on offense all season long. But I know they love versatility, but it would appear that those two fellows that they played are tackles that did not play very well at guard. So what are we to think about how Jacob Monk fits that puzzle when the first thing we're talking about is they sign Aaron Banks? Clearly they're moving Elton Jenkins to center because the only position Banks has played is left guard. So he's clearly left guard. That was Elton's position. How do you view the Jacob Monk puzzle piece at this point?
Yeah, I mean, the only way I can look at it, and he is a rookie, right, or was a rookie last year, but the only way I can look at it, and he's active for the game, a guard gets hurt, you could do a like-for-like swap because he has played guard in the past, and I'm sure he's taken reps at guard throughout the week, and he's studied up on it and all that. But they don't. They do, they made the switches that they made. The only thing I can assume is that they only think and trust him at the center position and that they only believe he's ready to play that position from at last year, at least, right? They only believe he was ready to do that at that given point.
Sure.
Which to me in that situation, I'm not sure I'm not on board with it because it's very difficult, like you mentioned, to put big tackle bodies in at guard in that situation because you see what happens when you put big tackle bodies in at guard against big men like that, right? Because they stand up tall with big men and they get pushed back very easily, and you want the lower center of gravity type guys to battle inside with those types of big guys that the Eagles had. And I don't know much about Monk because he didn't play any snaps, right? Like we didn't get to see him play.
To watch. Right.
Yeah, we didn't get to see him play against starters in the NFL, in regular season play. So you don't get to see him with his play style and his strength and all that. So it's hard to tell what they're seeing that we don't get to see. But it makes you think that they believe he's like a year or two away before they can trust him fully to put him out there. Now, he can have a off season where he puts on size, he puts on strength, and he comes back a different guy. And I've seen it happen. It can happen to anyone. But at that point in time, they just didn't see it as like feasible. But here's the thing where it got a little funky, right? Like when Myers got hurt, and they moved Sean Ryan to center. That's where I started to get a little confused on what was happening at that point in time, right? Like I was like, all right, why wouldn't you leave the guard alone and put him at center? Like I started to lose sight of what was going on, and I understand at that point, right? Like the game was essentially done at that point, right? I think they were up by 10-ish or something like. I understand, but like. That's the time to get the kid reps, right? Like that would be the time to see what he's about. It's a bad situation. I understand it, but like that's the time to see, and they didn't even want to do that. So my only thought, my only thought is that they just don't believe he's quite ready yet. And that's all I can assume. And that's not a knock on the kid. listen, if he only weighs, and Corey's an outlier because Corey was always light throughout his career. Corey was always like 285 pounds, but Corey was stronger than any human being on the team. Corey was the strongest guy on the team, if not the second, next to like Mike Daniels. So like Corey was an outlier, right? So like don't eliminate Corey from this conversation. Like Monk may be like 285 pounds or 200, like maybe 290 pounds, and he's just not ready to play at, from a size perspective at that level yet. And he needs another year of putting on strength and size, which, hey, he could do that this offseason. He just at that time against that Eagles defensive line wasn't ready yet. And that could be the only thing I assume, right? Because if he was ready, you would put that body in when Elton got hurt, right? If he was ready from that standpoint. At least that's the way I would assume. But I wasn't there. I didn't hear the conversation through the headset. I wish I would have. It's been good to hear.
He's listed at 6'3", 308, but and this I know this is going to sound a little weird, but having been around offensive linemen for 30 years, there ain't no way he's 308.
Yeah,
there just isn't.
Yeah,
so
probably like 291. If they're saying he's 308, he's probably like 291, 292. Would be my guess.
Next on Wilde and Tausch, guessing people's weights. Jesse, 182. So I want to get to, well, you did have that Madison weight loss, so it's hard to judge. I do want to get to another question that's facing this offensive line because they did add Aaron Banks, but I think we need to, with only 8 draft picks, and we're talking about all these needs, I think we need to talk about where this offensive line stands, and especially if they decide that they were wrong about Jacob Monk, because then they invested a 5th-round pick a year ago, and if for some reason he's not good enough, they have some depth charge issues that they need to get through. We'll talk about that as we roll on with Tackle Talk with Bryan Bulaga. We will do that after we hear from Tausch telling us about Kohler Services. Stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here, and if you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family-owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life, and this month only. Get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge.
It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Thursday on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Join the Madison Area Sports Commission live and in person for a Good Morning Sports event featuring Love Madison Volleyball. On March 31st, meet an all-star lineup of Love Madison athletes and hear about the first season of pro volleyball in Madison. Registration donations benefit the MASC Youth Grant to get kids into sports. Register online at visitmadison.com/GMS. This event is sponsored by American Family Insurance and Oak Bank, supported by ESPN Madison, and produced by the Madison Area Sports Commission.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
All right, Brian, let's look ahead. Because if we're looking at this offensive line, which is obviously your area of expertise, from left to right for the 2025, let's say the season started tomorrow, we know who their starting 5 are, right? Got Rasheed Walker at left tackle. Now, could Jordan Morgan take that spot from him? Sure. That could be one of the very interesting stories of this offseason, right? But as of now, you would think they would start the season the way they ended it, with the one change because they lost in free agency Josh Myers, or didn't lose him so much as they didn't invite him back, and he ended up with a 1-year prove-it deal with the Jets. But if the season started today, left to right, it's Rasheed Walker at left tackle, it's newly signed Aaron Banks at left guard, it's Elton Jenkins at center, it's Sean Ryan and perhaps some sort of job-sharing arrangement again with last year's first-round pick Jordan Morgan at right guard, and then it's Zach Tom at right tackle. Goody has made it pretty clear he's not moving Zach Tom, despite the Hall of Fame projections for him at center. My question for you is, we haven't figured out what they plan to do with Jordan Morgan, but we're talking about an offensive line that has not 1, not 2, but 3 guys going into their walk years. We think that they're going to sign Zach Tom to an extension, but I don't know what they're going to do with Sean Ryan. I don't know what they're going to do with Rasheed Walker. How do you look at where the offensive line stands today and what they need to do in the draft at that position to bolster the depth?
Yeah, see, like when you talk about 3 guys in their walk years, let's look at this thing like as a whole. Right, so like Banks, the left guard, locked in. So separate him. There's their 1 guy paid, right? You got the first-round pick. Lock him in. He's there for at least another 3 years, right? So take him away. So there's 2 guys. They're going to pay Zach Tom. They have to. You don't let tackles just walk out the door. You just don't do it. So there's 3 guys, right? And they're not really paying Jordan Morgan. He's on a rookie deal, so they don't consider that paying a guy. He's on a rookie deal. So there's 3 guys that you have locked in right away. So then you look at the situation that they have. Elton's under contract for this year and then the following year, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And then you have, yep. And then you have Sean Ryan on a walk year, and then you have Sheed on a walk year. Green Bay, as you know this, historically likes to only pay at the most 3 guys on an offensive line at a time. That's how they've done business forever. They never do more than 3, but normally never less than 2, right? They never just have 1 guy making money. It's normally 2 or 3. That's normally how they like to do it. And keep it at that. Because if you're only paying 1 guy, there's a chance that the line it's not sufficient. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, unless you got guys under rookie contracts that are just performing at such a high level, and it's a different story. So you look at that, and I see this thing kind of panning out that I'm not sure, even if Sheed plays great, right? Like, say Sheed plays great at left tackle, I don't see them going to the bank at $25 million and going down that path, right? Like, it's hard for me to see because I think they're going to be paying Zach Tom a very high premium at right tackle, like a very high premium, like probably around that 19 to 20 number at right tackle, not Payne at Detroit, but below that, but it's going to be a premium number at right tackle. So I don't see them going then and paying premium dollar at left tackle. Sean Ryan is going to be an interesting case. That's going to be an interesting case. That could be something that you see, maybe they don't normally do 2-year, but a 3-year extension, depending on how he performs and the money how that works out. The outlier to this is Elton Jenkins, right? They're the outlier to this thing because based on how he's been performing lately and his importance to that group and him moving to center, and you can get longevity if he moves to the center position. Do you re-sign him? For me, it's a yes. If you can move him to the center position and he performs well this year, I would pay Elton. I would extend Elton. And after this year with Zach Tom, so then you would give him another extension and then have him on board, say give him a 2-year extension or whatever, then you have him for another 3 years. And then you got your guys, right? And then there you are. And this draft and next draft, you start adding depth. And then if you need to, Jordan Morgan, then if you let Sheed walk, Jordan Morgan starts battling it out for the left tackle position. Because it's very difficult to pay 2 tackles at once.
Right.
It just is. I mean, you look at kind of the way Dave and I panned out, the times were different, right? Like the way tackles were making money were way different when Dave and I were on our I was on a 5-year, $30-something million deal, and Dave was then on I think a $14 million year, $14 a year $1 million deal.
Right, and let's be honest, right tackles were not getting paid like they are now. Like,
no, exactly.
I know you did well for yourself, but that their market has increased. And if you were in Zach Tom's spot, you'd do a lot better than you did back in your old Bryan Bulaga spot. Financially. But that's what I'm saying. Like the way the tackles are getting paid now, that wouldn't have been possible with that offensive line that we had in 2014 with myself, Dave, TJ sitting, and I get Corey was on his rookie deal, but that line couldn't be together with the way the guys are getting paid now. So Goody has to be creative with who he pays and how he pays them and who he extends and how he kind of shifts things around and how he does it. But it's going to be important that if there's a chance to add depth in this draft and good solid depth, you're looking 4th round, 3rd round, 5th round, and guys that you like, I think you got to take them, right? Because
there's an opportunity, right? Say you can't re-sign Sean Ryan, right? Like say he gets an offer on the free market after this season that's too good for him to turn down, like, and you can't match that number. Well, you're going to have someone be ready to go, right? Like unless you go back into the market, which they're not going to do. They're not going to go Banks again and go sign another guard for $77 million. That's just not what they'll do. So it's going to be important that if you add depth in this draft, you got to make sure it hits. And I do think, and we said this a while ago, I think having Campy as a scout for that organization right now is a big deal. I really do. I know he doesn't make the final decision. I know he doesn't do that. And I know it's up to Goody. And I know that there's guys above him too that go through the checklist before, like above Campy. And I know then it goes to Butkus and it goes to Steno and it goes to LaFleur. Like I get it, right? But Campy at the ground level, passing these names and these guys up to them, right? And doing the ground level work on these guys is a big deal because Campy did the groundwork on the guys that I mentioned, on the Langs, on the Sittons, on the on the Linsleys, on the Bakhtiaris. Like he did that work, studying those guys and then trusting them and putting them in. So like, there's a lot to be said about that. So like, I think that's going to be important, and we'll see how Goody kind of what he prioritizes in those mid to late rounds for depth, or if he looks at those third and fourth rounds, kind of like he did this last draft, those guys were starting, like for our defense. You know what I mean? Like those guys ended up, not the third round, because we didn't have a third round pick, but our fourth round pick was a starter. Like that's how good it was. So like, you got to look at like Evan Williams. He was the fourth round pick, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
He was a starter. So like, that's how that turned out. So like, the fourth round pick, as we see, is an important pick because the guy turned out to be a stud and a starter. So like, it's going to be interesting to see how Goody plays these things out, and if he does get offensive, if he does look for offensive line help, where does he look at it? It'll be very telling. Does he go center? Does he go guard body? Does he go tackle body? It'll be very telling because there's a difference between the guard body and the tackle body. We all know that, right? Like. Like, it's very easy to tell the difference between the tackles and the guards. I know they want versatility. I know that's a very hot word in the NFL is versatility. We want them to be able to play everywhere, but there's a difference. And I know I'm like old school, play your spot, but you better be able to play a spot and do it well. Like, you got to be able to do something well. You can't just be out there and, well, I know this position, but I can't do it well. You better be able to do something well. So that'll be interesting to see how Goody does that.
And let's be honest, you are the outlier in this history of building these terrific offensive lines because you were the first-round pick. You go through all these guys, and as I scroll through it, Josh Sitton, fourth-round pick. TJ Lang, fourth-round pick. People forget this, but Marshall Newhouse was in your draft class. He had a pretty darn long NFL career. And when Cliffy was out in 11, I know he wasn't an elite left tackle, but he got you through an entire season as a left tackle. He was a fifth-round pick. You always mention Corey. Well, Corey was a fifth-round pick. And the other guy that you guys had at center during part of your time there, who went on to have a really good career elsewhere, was J.C. Treader, who was a fourth-round pick. David was a fourth-round pick. Like, now Zach Tom was a fourth or fifth-round pick. Like, you have to be understanding that is where you have to hit on the offensive line. So it's great that they took Jordan Morgan last year, but overall, you're building your offensive line with fourth and fifth round picks if you're good at it. Otherwise, you're going into the free agent market to go get guys.
100%. You got to build your guys, and you got to hit on them in the mid to later, like not, I guess, like seventh round pick. Like Tausch is like the outlier there. Like Tausch is like
you're both outliers. You're just different ends of the outliers.
Yeah, like Tausch is like the ultimate find, right? Like seventh round gem. Like he's like the ultimate find, but like you got to find like the core of your group in that third, fourth, and fifth. Like those are the guys that you bring into that room, you develop them, and they end up being what Green Bay's line has been for so long, right? Like those are the guys that have been in the core of that room forever, and like Green Bay's been very good at it, and that's what they'll continue to do. I mean, because they look at certain positions as investing first and second round picks in, and then they don't. And then they look at picks as third, fourth, and fifth round picks, and that's how they've been doing things, and they've been successful in it.
All right, we need to get to Whoa Nelly is I'm not sure we need to get to it, but it's scheduled to come up next. Now, there's a sound graph that I want to see on our social media channels, especially with Jesse turning into the camera the way he did. Whoa Nelly is next. It is after Tausch tells us about how he's become a UW Credit Union member long after I did. We'll hear from Tausch, and then we'll have more with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day, so stick around.
UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years, they'll help you reach your financial goals. And if you're like me, you've always got cheddar on the mind. UW Credit Union can help with no monthly fee checking and great rates that let you keep more of your cheese. And when you're at that stage of life where you're ready to purchase a new home, UW Credit Union is your location for home loans. With UW Credit Union's local experts, a great loan at a great rate is never far from home. Join today at uwcu.org. That's uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Hey there, it's Jesse Nelson. Summer is coming. The days are getting longer. The sun is shining. It's getting warmer, and you know what that means. It's time to start thinking about a summer job. Madison School and Community Recreation has a bunch of opportunities right now that they are hiring, including day camp and youth program leaders, outdoor adventure staff, support staff for individuals with disabilities, sports instructors, my personal favorite, officials, and a whole lot more. And the best thing about working with Madison School and Community Recreation is no matter what you're looking for, they have it. Full and part-time positions, daytime or evening hours are available. So no matter your interest, no matter your schedule, no matter where you live, there's a position for everyone. If you're someone coming home from college for the summer, maybe you're the parent of a college kid coming home for the summer, you need some extra work, Madison School and Community Recreation. You just want to pick up some extra cash on the side, be an official for one of the sports leagues that gets going in the summer, Madison School and Community Recreation. At MSCR, you can make an immediate impact in the community and gain meaningful experience. Start your summer adventure today. Apply at mscr.org.
There's no safer place to feel dumb than Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe.
We are adults on this program. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to take for people to realize that.
Don't listen to the end of Monday's program.
Don't do that. Don't listen to the end of most of our programs. If you don't listen to the show, you can go ahead and say we are the most mature show on ESPN Wisconsin.
Mr. Irrelevant, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30 on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
Home practice is about to begin. Your daughter's new tap shoes? Loud. Your son's new tuba? Louder. But you got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft grace zone. So if you lose track of expenses buying some noise-canceling and sanity-saving headphones, we've got your back. You got this with $50 overdraft grace zone from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
March is bonus time at Audi Madison. Save $3,000 on select 2025 Audi A3, A4, A5, or Q7 models. Save $4,000 on select 2025 A6, Q5, or Q8 models. Customer bonus applied towards the purchase or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until March 31st. Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Hello, I'm John Hayes, the owner of Goodman's Jewelers. It's been my pleasure to serve this community from this incredible store for over 4 decades. We stand upon high standards and classic traditions, pillars like honesty and integrity. Stop into Goodman's Jewelers, the longest-standing full-service jewelry store in the heart of Madison at 220 State Street. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
NBA Tuesday on ESPN Radio.
Steph Curry a triple.
Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors face Tyler Hero and the Heat. Coverage begins today at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app. Presented by Indeed.
With tears in my eyes and love in my soul, I feel like starting something. The pain it subsides the minute I go. I feel like starting something.
We're almost out of our time with Bryan Bulaga today, so let's waste some of it with Whoa Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning I had breakfast at Tracy Rocker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
So, Becca and I had kind of a lazy night last night. Pretty tired from the weekend that was, doing our respective things. Went and saw this musical on Sunday night, Neil Diamond musical, which was surprisingly good.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
didn't know I liked Neil Diamond. Sure enough, I do.
Yeah.
I guess he was a big deal back in the day. So we went and got drive-through fast food dinner last night, which means I was sent to go get drive-through fast food dinner last night. And it was at a establishment where we have had some issues when we've gone through it before with our order. And usually you don't check the bag till you get home, and you're just like, whatever. Like a lot of times when we're going through this particular place, it's usually later in the evening on the way home from doing other things, and you just want to get home and have a late night dinner or snack and then get to bed. Yesterday, I kind of had this intuition that something was not going to go right with the order. Get to the window, get the order. Guy shows me the receipt. I thought we had 2 drinks. Turns out we only had 1 drink that they punched in. Okay, whatever. Still felt like the bag was kind of light. I pull forward. I check the bag, and we're missing an entire sandwich from the order. What do you do in that situation?
You park and go inside and say, I'm missing an entire sandwich from this order.
Yeah!
That's what I would do.
I parked and went inside and said, I'm missing an entire sandwich from this order.
Excellent.
I felt unruly. Like, I don't want to be the person that goes in and causes a ruckus and complains and skips the line of people that are trying to order inside. And, like, there's little kids and the families, and they're just trying to, get their stuff, their cheeseburgers and whatnot. But after enough times, like, I thought about pulling around and going through the drive-thru again, but that felt like it would be an unnecessary situation to put myself in. So we're all in agreement. If you don't get it, you just run inside, park the car. That's the way to handle that.
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
No-brainer.
Sure. Good. I'm glad.
Did you think that maybe you did something as you called it, unruly?
Yeah, I
they
did.
didn't
Why?
give you one of your sandwiches.
Yeah, you paid for it.
They didn't forget the chips.
I just like when things go according to plan, and this didn't go according to plan, so then I feel like I'm in the wrong by being the disruptor of going in and having someone come over when they're in the middle of trying to get everything done. Like, I'm respectful of what the people are doing. I just wish they would have got it right the first time, and thankfully it was a pretty quick fix. Everything went okay. It felt like it went okay, but something didn't feel right about the experience. So I just wanted, you guys are now confirming that it seems like I did the right thing, so we're good.
I don't know how. I mean, the consideration of just driving away and saying, "Well, I guess I didn't get my order. Time to go home." I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know. Why would you do that?
I mean, I've definitely done that before. Like, if you don't check, like, I've also volunteered to go from home back to the place, like, or other places to go, like, get what you paid for if you don't have it by the time you get home, and everybody's upset that they don't have what they wanted.
Yeah, I have gotten home and realized something was missing, and then I call, and then I say, I paid for this, I didn't get it. Usually they also give you a bonus item to make up for your inconvenience, and when they don't, I'm kind of like, hey, wait a minute. I don't want to be that guy, but you got to do a little more for me. Like, I'm sitting at home without the burger I'm supposed to have for one of the people in my group. So good job, Jesse. Way to stand up for yourself. Especially when you're bullied on this show as often as you are.
Whoa, Nelly! I have a question for Bryan Bulaga, specifically. The Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight are coming up this weekend. We had March Madness over the weekend. MLB opening day, if you don't count the games that were in Tokyo last week, is this Thursday with the Brewers here on Madison's home of the Brewers, 100.5 ESPN, and on our flagship 620 WTMJ. The NBA playoffs just around the corner. Bucks had a thrilling game against the Suns last night. My question for you, Mr. Bulaga, what sport besides football do you enjoy watching the most?
Well, soccer would be number one. Premier League, the English Premier League and Champions League and all that. But I will say this. I've been really intrigued by the NCAA tournament this year. I think the games have been really good. They've been really close. There have been really good games. So, like, I've watched a bunch of the games this year. It's been a good tournament. I've enjoyed it so far. So, I don't watch basketball a lot at all, but this tournament season has been fun to watch.
Jesse, that question was for Bulaga. You made it very clear.
Yeah.
What did you want from me there?
Usually you would.
I could have left.
You would have something to say in response to him.
I have a Mr. You called him Mr. Bulaga,
I did
like
do
he's
that.
like your guidance counselor.
Well, sometimes he feels like it.
I love the NCAA tournament. Thanks for asking. Although I am now intrigued. My European soccer team, FC Bayern Munich, they're in the, what are they, in the final 8? Is that where we're at right now? You can tell I follow this very closely.
I believe it is the final. No, I think it's, is it 8? No, it's not. There's more than 8, isn't there?
See,
no, you're right.
This has been Soccer Talk with Bryan Bulaga and Jason Wilk.
Well, Man City's out of it. So, like, I mean, I faintly pay attention to the team.
They've got that Clay Matthews look-alike guy that's so good.
They're struggling this year. They're having a hard go at it this year. So, but it's okay. They'll be all right.
How's Tottenham Hotspur? Isn't that Corey Linsley's team?
Yeah, they are even worse. So they are not doing good.
All right, this has been your European Soccer Minute here.
Sorry I asked.
You did, and you did. You asked for it, and that's what you got. All right, we will wrap things up with Bryan Bulaga, our cousin sub of the day. Next, it's Wilde and Tausch.
Swing and a miss, and the Dodgers are World Series champions.
It's opening day. The Detroit Tigers at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Coverage begins Thursday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. I'm here to tell you about 2 significant switches you're going to want to know about. First, remember the radio home of Milwaukee baseball has changed this year to 100.5 ESPN. And second, let me tell you about how my family made the switch to solar energy with the great team at Everlight Solar. We'd been thinking about making the switch for a while, but we weren't exactly sure where to even start. That's when we met with the Everlight Solar team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Save money and help save the planet. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by The Jump Around. Don't miss new episodes of this exclusive digital show talking all things Wisconsin sports, premiering every Thursday at 12:30, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Wisconsin's March journey ending Saturday, a 91-89 loss to BYU in the second round. 8 years now since Bucky's last appearance in the tournament's second weekend. While the season-ending loss gut-wrenching, Greg Gard reflecting on his team's run many saw as a long shot.
Watching them grow together from the time we got together in June to now may have been the most fun, enjoyable year in my career. We weren't even supposed to be in this tournament, and this group just bought in and committed to each other, and we're so much fun to be around every single day and so much fun to coach.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Hey football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets for the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois. Age 21 years or older. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or Brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, we'll react to Jimmy Butler's return to Miami, as well as look ahead to 3 matchups with huge seeding implications. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
With our remaining seconds, just since Jesse was so interested, your quarterfinal matchups in the UEFA Champions League.
Whoa, Nelly!
Arsenal, Real Madrid, Paris and Aston Villa, Barcelona and B. Dortmund. Not familiar with their work.
No, he was on yesterday.
Borussia Dortmund.
And Bayern Munich taking on Inter Milan. Is that what that is?
Yep.
Inter?
Yep.
So those are your final 8. This says you get tackle talk and you get soccer talk when you get Bryan Bulaga. Bryan, you always are there for us when Tausch is out, and we appreciate you giving us today Good luck for as long as Abby is gone. You're the dad of the year for at least a few days. We appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of the week.
We will, even though Tausch won't be here for it. That's it for us today. Thanks for coming along for the ride with us. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin? Commercial-free full show podcasts are available free on Wisconsin On Demand.